If you shower or brush your teeth or try to make your hair look presentable, here's some good news. Dollar Shave Club has a lot of stuff to help you out. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, hair gel, even a wipe that leaves your tush feeling tingly clean. All of Dollar Shave Club's products are made with top-shelf ingredients that won't break your budget. You'll feel the difference. Plus, shipping is free with your membership. And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products for just $5. You can get their Daily Essential Starter Set. It comes with Body Cleanser, One Wipe Charlie's, their amazing butt wipes, and their world-famous shave butter. And their best razor, the 6-Blade Executive. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month and add in a shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Chad.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
There was a fact-finding mission here overnight to try to find out who this writer could be, and it could be anyone. This is a president who is already isolated and seems very much to be paranoid, and from his tweets, he is now seething, calling for this writer to turn himself in and using the word treason.
What? Who is it? Who? I said it every day. Who is it? Is it you, or you? Who is it? Who wrote it? Who wrote the scathing article? The op-ed piece in the New York Times that's going to take down the President of the United States? Who could it be? Nobody knows. We're all guessing, right? Is it Brutus? Chad. How very educated of you. No, it's not. Is it the undersecretary of the undersecretary of the undersecretary of the Department of Agriculture? Possibly. There could be up to 900 people this could be. Is it Mike Pompeo? He has said it's not me. Is it Pence? No. Right? Well, somebody in this room did something I don't like. I don't know who it is. Neither do you. Is it a collection of people? Meaning one person authored it, but it's several people who voice stuff to this person, who also had concerns, authored it, and sent it to the New York Times. Is it somebody within the New York Times who has spoken to several people and has created a fictional character called Anonymous White House person, authored it, said I got it from somebody, put it in there? I don't know. Nobody knows who did it. What we do know is it's out there and it's anonymous.
Nobody has ever done in less than a 2-year period what we've done. So when you tell me about some anonymous source within the administration, probably who's failing and probably here for all the wrong reasons.
It's possible. Again, we don't know who it is. Have we seen anything like this before? No. It's insane. It's crazy. It's nuts. I sit back and I just think, sweet mama jamma, how did we arrive at this moment, at this time, where we have this situation going on, where we have an op-ed piece written by somebody supposedly in the White House talking about how at times unstable, uninformed the president is, making decisions on a whim, second guessing the second guess of his third guess of the fifth guess, going off on tangents and no, we've never had this before. Never. The temper tantrum things. And I'll say this, the one, and the piece at times wasn't negative. It says, look, we're the resistance inside the White House, but we're not the resistance that's so popular out there of the left because we believe a lot of what this president is doing is good. So don't confuse the two. But how can you not? Secondly, the temper tantrums. If you go back in history and you looked at presidents, there's a lot of them had bad tempers, right? Like Lyndon B had a temper. There was some throwing stuff kind of guys in the White House. There was some, we're going to have to get a new desk in here thing. So it just wasn't reported like it is nowadays. What happens in the White House, kind of like a locker room. What happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. What happens in the White House stays in the White House. Not like that anymore. It's not. But it is bizarre a world. We live in a world that's just, it's nuts. It's crazy. You know, we have a book a week, it seems like, coming out. Some new earth-shattering thing about the president. 2-3 weeks ago was Omarosa, right? This is it. There's a tape. I'm still waiting for the tape. Anybody heard the tape? Anybody? She's gone. Now you've got Woodward coming out. He had the floor for 30 seconds, and now that book is still going to come out, and supposedly he's named some sources on there. Some of those sources, who the excerpts have come out of the book, have already said, yeah, that's a bunch of crap. Right? But this book's going to come out. I'm sure there's a lot more salaciousness inside of it. I'm not saying it's all lies, because I don't think it is all lies. I think, look, if it was a lot of other journalists, I would say, you're probably taking liberties here. Bob Woodward? No, not so much. No, he's getting paid for it. Of course it's going to be salacious. Right? Who knows what it is? Maybe Trump wrote it. How hilarious would that be? If I was Trump yesterday, I would have went out there and said, it's me. I wrote it. I want to see if they'd publish it. It's a bunch of baloney. Oh, wow. The New York Times would be like, uh-oh. Wow. Wow. Crazy would that be? But who knows what it is? But it's more of us talking about other things in the world of politics. And you know, look, I like politics, but And I like to study it. I like to look at it. I like to see where it goes. I like the idea of talking about different ideas and working through things. It's not what we have anymore. This is a reality show world we live in. We got a reality show president who's brought his chaos with him, which I said he was going to do, which I say it's not all bad, but it is at times, it's nuts. It really is. And even in the op-ed piece, one of the things I agree with, it says there's so much crap goes on around that even the good doesn't get covered the way it should, which I think is very, very real. The New York Times is hearing it from other large publications that are, the New York Times esque, like Washington Post, who, they're part of that, they don't like Trump movement. They're very liberal, but they've come out and said something too. Basically, you guys better know what's going on, because if this goes south, we're all going to pay some price.
Well, the Times says that this official wanted to remain anonymous, and they believed that publishing the essay anonymously was, quote, the only way to deliver an important perspective to our audience. The president is suggesting this is treason, and the White House is saying that whoever this official is should resign immediately.
Yeah. I don't know. It is crazy. It is. It's nuts. And so we spend you look at the last 48 hours, 72 hours this weekend. We're Labor Day's over. This is when politics starts to come back to normal. Kids are back in school. Politicians are back in D.C. Everybody's working around the country. Basically, the summertime is over. We're back to some sort of normalcy, if you will. And this is when they should be looking at, not only ahead to elections, but how they can get some things done. And that stuff's kind of going on behind the scenes. But the reality is the Kavanaugh hearings are going on. And that's just another blank show that's happening. You've got this now. It is frustrating at times, and I get frustrated. I do, and I think a lot of people out there get frustrated that you spend the entire morning, if you listen to any of these things, rather than saying, hey, you know what? What have you guys done? I mean, you got taxes done. It's great. We'll see how what that looks like in the end. But you've got this tariff thing going on, which is helping a few industries, but it's hurting a lot more, and we'll see how that plays itself out. You've got some other issues out there that we need to be, working on, or at least working towards, and instead it's 24/7 craziness.
I'm not sure it matters. There are op-eds like that in the New York Times every day. It's just a different byline, or I guess a non-byline here. I just have to correct the record. It's not clear to us anyway that it's somebody in the White House. So they're saying senior administration official. That could be many people. There are, I think, thousands of political appointees, hundreds of folks who would qualify under that title alone.
Yeah, apparently up to 900 people qualify for that. And she's right about one thing. I mean, you could put anybody in this that's going to get it published in the New York Times. Right? You can put it, because every day there is op-ed pieces about how awful the president is, how unstable the president is, how insane the president is, how he's destroying America inch by inch by inch by inch by inch by inch, and that's all he's doing. So this is nothing new. It would be big news Like, let's just say for the sake of argument, it is somebody up there. They find out who it is, and it's somebody in a higher ranking official that does work closely with the president. That is somebody you know, right? That's a name that you've heard of. Because it could be somebody, like I said, that is so far down the line that they don't even know, he doesn't even know who the person is. But let's say it's somebody big. Does that change your mind? Right? Like if Mike Pompeo came out, if John Kelly, we found out it's John Kelly. I mean, these are all hypotheticals. Does that change your mind about the president? Would that change your mind about the president? If it was Mike Pence, who's like, I didn't do it. How funny would that be? Would that change your mind? Would it? I'm curious.
The deputy chief of staff for Vice President Pence tweeted this morning, quote, the vice president puts his name on his op-eds, adding, quote, our office is above such amateur acts. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, traveling in India, denied he wrote the op-ed.
I know someone will say, gosh, you didn't answer the question. It's not mine.
Yeah. But would it change your mind? And I think that's something that also needs to be asked by people out there. If this was somebody who was high in the administration, somebody you recognized, somebody you knew, somebody you maybe respected, right? Because what I see is a lot of these ancillary characters that leave and Trump dumps all over them, and I see his people, and they get all, that person's a horrible human being anyways, you know. If it was somebody like a John Kelly, does that change your mind? A little bit? Does that shift some of your thinking? Saying, well, maybe there are some issues here that we need to look at more. Or are you just so blinded by fandom, if you will, and you just can't see any of it? Fair question. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
We ain't gonna make it, son. We come this far, ain't we? Look, when we say we're gonna do a job, we do a job.
You must be in a hell of a hurry, huh, Sheriff? That boy.
Oh, you got a little mess there. Let me help you out here. Get that off of there. That's a way for an officer.
Multiply.
Who are you chasing? Somebody chasing you?
Nobody chasing me, boy. I've been chasing a maniac all the way from Texarkana, Texas. You're crazy, you know that? Yeah, you know that.
Burt Reynolds had a heart attack this morning, passed away at age 82. I was talking to people around here, and somebody who's 35, he's younger than me. He says, Burt, his wheelhouse, I was probably, I was around for the wheelhouse, maybe a little bit too young, but man, he was a megastar. I was telling the guy, I said, look, I said, Lloyd, let me tell you how big he was. I said, he was at the time, probably for about 6-7 years, potentially the biggest star in the world, right? Sexiest man. Right, posed in Playgirl and all of that stuff, and of course we remember Deliverance. I mean, you hear that, and you just think, right? Doesn't matter anymore. Why it's being played? You're like, oh man! And he talked about the movie Deliverance with Conan not too long ago.
Deliverance could be made today. There's something to me about that film that it feels like it could only have been made during that period in the 70s. That it would be.
I think you're right. We started with that scene. The scene where he says he got a mighty pretty mouth.
Yeah. In Deliverance, yeah. And you thought that scene would end your career potentially?
I thought it was going to be close.
Yep. Died. And I was telling somebody, for me, even though it was well before my time, my favorite character, well, I loved Gator, right? Gator was great. But I absolutely loved Quint in Gunsmoke. Some of you were older, go, oh, Gunsmoke, yeah. He was originally the blacksmith, and he they used to call him half-breed because he was half white and half Indian, and it was a great thing. And he still had all his own hair. He was a big, and you could tell he was going to be a big star then. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us each and every day at this time, right? We like to break it down for you in ways that make you hipper and cooler. So when you're out there in the streets, the jungle they call it, you could throw down some of this vernacular and you're like, what? People are like, yeah, I heard that on the Chad Benson Show. It's called the Urban Word of the Day.
It's time for the Urban Word of the Day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban Word of the Day.
Oh, this one I like. Bread chaser. Bread chasing or bread chaser, it's up to you. Bread, that's old school. That's dollar bills, yo. Chasing it means you're hustling or you're working. What are you doing today, man? Usual. Got some bread chasing to do. Oh, I like that. You can use that one. I'm not even going to charge you for it. That's some free bread for you right there. Bread chaser. Your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the Urban Word of the Day. We damn stretched your cranium.
Producer Phil, it is me, Alex Jones. I don't know if you're aware of this or if you heard anything about this, but no longer allowed to be on Twitter, and Marco Rubio doesn't want me to touch him. I don't know if you heard that.
Was it the fish people?
It was a fish. Well, I mean, look, we all know exactly what's going on. Part fish people, part iguana. 100% non-binary organisms that have come here from different planets that are sitting in our government, that are controlling everything we see, including all of this tragedy that's all fake, crisis actors, not real. I'm telling you, but apparently Twitter says I got to go away. So Alex Jones was banned. Alex, good to see you. I wish you the best. And, look, I have said, and I continue to say, I'm not an Alex Jones fan, right? I'm not. That's not my thing. It's never been my thing. But I will tell you this. I've always said, let the free market decide something like that. It's their stuff. They can do what they want. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of that stuff. It's a free market. You do whatever you want with it. But I've always said, let the free market do its thing. People eventually either get tired of it or they'll still want it. They've taken away a platform. And when I hear that, free speech is being squashed, it's not. Nobody's taking away his right. Nobody is taking away my right, but they are, Chad, if you think about it, because they're coming after me with aliens that you don't even know about because it's in the water, and that's how small the microorganisms are. They get inside of you and they destroy your brain from the inside out. I'm just telling you the truth. Look it up. Google it. I'm not on Google anymore either, am I? No, you're still there. Oh, goodness me. Paul Lamone is going to join us. Switch gears here. Let's talk some tech straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
What? Party people on a beautiful day. I was joking around about Alex Jones, who was banned from Twitter today, and I said to the guys, so he can't be on YouTube, he can't be on Facebook, and he can't be on Twitter, so maybe MySpace? Hey, if you're MySpace, Paul, all right, does that still exist? That still exists,
Snapchat.
right?
He can definitely get on Snapchat.
Well, there you go. But if you're MySpace, wouldn't you almost beg him to come over to you? Because he's going to bring a ton of traffic to you, and that would help you.
There's going to be like a mass, the alternative to like Twitter. There's going to be a company that's smart enough to start getting all these people that have been forced off onto their platform.
Yeah.
to launch something new.
Well, look, that's the way free markets work. Free markets work like this. You're not providing a service that some people want. I'll provide that service, and then away we go. And you know, if it turns out to be a better service, other people will come there. I've always said, and I'm not a huge fan of banning anybody from anything unless if he promoted violence to something, I could see why they would do that. They said yesterday the Rubio thing really was the final straw, but the reality is you know, it's their stuff. They can do what they want.
Well, that's the problem, though. That's why I like all the heat on the social media giants. Is there are a group thought in these tech sector where they don't want people to do whatever they want. They want people to do what, and they are happy to exile you if you are outside of their box. And Alex Jones is outside of everybody's box, but still, he should be able to crazy rants.
Yeah, he is outside of everybody's box. Well, let's have some fun with stuff. Let's talk about Robot Dog, because we don't have enough stuff. And why go to the pound and get a dog that needs a home when, better yet, I could buy a robot dog and that'll solve all my problems?
It'll solve some amazing problems. Boston Dynamics, which is a government that builds robots, says in 2019 it's going to start selling its first dog-size robot. So it has enough power for 90 minutes of operation so far. It can walk upstairs, it can open doors, it can pick up things, it has an arm, and it can see the world.
That's not a robot, though. That's not a robot.
We're
That's
not
a
sure what it's used for other than...
None of those things, Paul. That's not a robot. If it can pick stuff, my dog can't pick anything
very creepy,
up.
Almost... Your dog can't pick anything up. He can't go to the fridge and bring you back a beer.
No.
Could.
That's weird.
And it's a very expensive way to be extra lazy, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is crazy. But this is just the beginning of where we're going
for the general public for a very long time.
This is the beginning, right?
This
where
is
we're
the start.
headed with this.
Even they say that this is the beginning of a in robotics becoming part of our everyday life, part of just the mainstream of who we are as a society. And the fact Robot Dog is going to be released and start, corporate clients will be the first people that kind of can afford it. We're going to see how this can start just being full to our lives, just like the internet was. And they believe that the robotics revolution is going to be as big as the internet revolution, but it'll just take more time.
Yeah, we keep losing you, Paul. We're going to call you back on your regular cell phone, which is, the Sky. This whole technology thing sucks. We're talking to Paul Lamoto, our tech guy here. And I'm interested because I want to talk to him about this robot dog that I find to be very interesting. And the reason for that is because, I watched the thing yesterday, and CNN's got a thing about the new world of body modifications, where people are modifying their bodies in ways that you've never seen before. It's not just tattoos and maybe, somebody gets horns or this, that, and the other, but it's this body modification where they're taking their skin and they're chopping it up into little bits and pieces and they're making new things. And I know that we're heading in a world of another direction, and people are like that. I love reading the comments. You're a freak, you're a weirdo, you're weird. And I think to myself, yeah, I'm the first one, though, when they get to the point where they can probably put a chip in, like to your brain, to make it smarter. I go, all right, I'll try it. Right? Like, that's the weird thing. It's bizarre, but the robotics world is coming so much faster than people believe. And for me, I like that. But the whole thing about the dog is interesting because you can't just, we've got those little, you got the sex dolls that are out there, and you see the brothels, by the way, they're sold out. Like, you can't even get into some of these brothels, right? But the robotics that are going to be part of everybody's everyday life is coming so much faster than people believe. But you can't just throw it at people. So you start with something that's non-invasive and is kind of fun, and you'd like, oh, let's do a dog. Right? Because nobody hates a dog. Nobody does. Nobody hates a dog. So you start with that. And it's a great thing. It really, really is a great thing. And this is the way I look at technology and everything, because this is the part of life that we live, is it's here. It's not going anywhere. We're not going to be Amish. right? It's not going to happen. We're not going backwards. We're only going forward. So you can either A, choose to get on the train, or B, fight it and see what happens. We're living in a world that we've never even thought about. So, Paul, I was saying before we were so rudely interrupted by technology we're talking to Paul Lamone, our tech guy from Arvada Labs and the Double Edge Media. I was talking to them about the fact that a robot is it's fun, it's cute, it's neat. It's a great way to introduce people to the idea that robotics is coming, whether you like it or not. So here's just a taste in a fun way to what is coming for real.
It's a way to desensitize us, because when you see something that's like a dog, something the size of a dog that's walking around, it's a robot, that's cool. When you see something the size of a human that's walking around, it starts to become a little eerie. So by gradually introducing us step by step that our world could be full of robotics and these creatures that are autonomous, can do things, can understand us, can help us in our work, and who knows what else. It's just the first step, and all of a sudden we're going to see robots as commonplace. They're going to be like people having a cell phone. You have a cell phone, you have a robot at home.
That's huge. I can't wait. I can't wait till we. When do you think? And I want to. You follow the. Besides the AI stuff and all the other stuff you do, you like getting off on the crazy, weird, tangents of these kind of things. When are we going to merge? When's the merge come? I call it the merge. Call it whatever you want. When at some point in time are we truly going to be merging where we can download stuff into our brains and learn Spanish in 5 minutes? But I joke about that. But when are we going to? When's the merge coming?
It's starting to happen. There are people that are experimenting with implants that allow them to have memories that they never experienced. So this is super fringe stuff. So this isn't like it's coming anytime soon to you. This is people experimenting on the fringe with ways to take our biological systems and the electricity and the electrons that run us as humans and mix in circuitry that allows us to enhance it, become cyborgs. And it's not that far off between what we can do now with some of this new genetic, like CRISPR technologies and this genetic engineering, and then to enable us to build computers that'll link with our neural nets, that'll link and bridge the gap between our spinal cords, which is one of the huge things that are happening now, where they can bridge gaps with nerves. And so that's an experiment to say, hey, I can bring back a person's ability to walk. That can lead to some amazing things in the future.
Absolutely. It can. I hope it leads to better cell phone service. But talking to Paul Lamone, our awesome tech guy, you talk about, there's that word there that you said in there that people probably did. A few tech nerds will send me something, but you said something in there that is very interesting, and I've been reading a lot about it. And it's CRISPR, which is very, very interesting.
It's a way to edit genes so you can kind of design a person how you want them to be. It goes in there and edits your gene sequences and says, look, I'd rather, right now it's being used for some cool stuff. I'd rather this person be immune to these diseases. So the diseases that I know that affect your genes, I can try and manipulate those genes so they become resistant, or they won't even be able to be turned into receptors for those diseases.
That's awesome.
Some amazing stuff.
Yeah,
and
that is totally
amazing.
amazing.
Some of the fringe stuff of people that are saying, what if I wanted to have the eyesight of an eagle? Or what if I wanted to have, the strength of a walrus? Nobody says that, but I'm saying. There's things that
Can you pick some bizarre animals? Paul's like, okay, this is why you are never allowed to be a Wonder Twin.
The shape of a walrus. What is the walrus going to help us in this situation?
We're on land. It doesn't even help us in this situation. You're awful.
Exactly. I'm an emu. Doesn't help.
But that's the stuff I find to be interesting. As we're talking to Paul Lamone, our tech guy, and this all goes in. There's going to be AI, and one of the things that Google's working on with AI, because God only knows what they're working on up there. But one of them is like a predictor that potentially could predict when you're going to die. or at least, whereabouts and how you may potentially perish. Not like, hey, you're going to die on December 20, 9th at 3:30 and you're going to get hit by a bus. But, the health side of things, which I think could be helpful.
It could totally be helpful. They're saying it has a 95% accuracy in its predictions. It's creepy how they would know accuracy, which means this isn't brand new. They've been doing this for a while to say that, look, we predicted this guy died, and yep, he did die. So they're working with your hospitals, your doctors, your pharmacies, and they're gathering all the data about you in the medical field and coming in and, doing some good stuff. They're wanting to help doctors being able to diagnose different things like cancers and that kind of thing better. But the scary thing is the administrations of hospitals are using it to say, am I going to expect this patient to be released? It becomes administrative stuff. So in doing this study, they realize, well, not only can I say that this patient will be in the hospital for this long, be released at this part, that they'll probably be back because of these reasons, and their death is expected to be because of this. And that's where AI and a lot of this, data tracking starts to become creepy.
Absolutely. It's crazy, and but I find it to be fascinating, and I'm not afraid of the future, and I'm not afraid of technology. I think it's great. I like to embrace it as much as I can. I don't know a lot about it, but you know what? That's the beauty of the world that we live in. The internet will tell you a lot about the stuff that you don't know. As always, even though with bad connection, God only knows where you'll be next week. Paul Lamone, our tech guy from Arvada Labs and Double Edge Media. Appreciate you coming on. We'll talk to you again next week somewhere where you have maybe payphone somewhere would be good.
Maybe a payphone. I'm not getting one of those. Thanks, guys.
Bye. How awesome. First of all, you have a better chance today of being hit by lightning, I think, than finding a payphone. When's the last time you saw a payphone, Producer Phil?
I can't even begin to think.
I'm trying to think. Usually it's at like a random gas station where they probably forgot there was even a phone there to take it out, so it's just there. And here's the thing, too. I've always said this, and I continue to say this. If you find a payphone, around the payphone, you will find nefarious characters. That's all I'm going to say. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Somebody text in, would you really become an android? I'm not becoming an android. I'm cyborg. Yes. I'm all about that. I'm all about that. Let's do it. I'll be Venom. I got no problem with it. AMAC. I digress. That's kids called a segue. AMAC's amazing. They really are. They're, the benefits alone. They advocate on your behalf for politics. We talk about that all day. They do. They do so much stuff. I mean, you see what's going on in Washington right now. They are the people who advocate on your behalf for a lot of the beliefs that you have out there that ARP and any of these other companies that would be kind of like this would try to do. No, they do it from a different angle, an angle that you believe in. Common sense immigration reform, Social Security reform, repealing Obamacare, those kind of, that's what they're about. But on top of that, the benefits are so amazing and the cost is right. It's free. It doesn't get better than free. It doesn't. You're getting something literally for nothing, which is hard to say in this day and age because I always say can't do that, but you are. And the benefits in many ways pay you. You're getting 40% off movie tickets. You're getting 40% off amusement parks like Disneyland, Disney World, SeaWorld, things like that. You're getting travel, restaurant, retail discounts, all kinds of stuff, and they're not charging you anything. It's a 1-year free membership. You join today. You go to amac.us/Chad. You're going to receive your first year free. That's amac.us/Chad. There's no cost. There's no tricks. There's no credit card required. Nothing. It's free for a year. amac.us/Chad or call 888-355-1668. 888-355-1668. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Feel free to punk this punk rocker any time of the day or night. Reach Chad on Twitter at Chad Benson Show and on Instagram at Chad Benson Show. And oh yeah, the Chad Benson Show on Facebook too. Punk that.
Hi. Don't tell me your name. I'll just call you Beauty.
You must be a sensitive person. I bet you're a fan of Rod McEwen's.
I try to be.
Cannonball Run. Cannonball Run. I love the Cannonball. Phil, you and I you probably saw the Cannonball Run.
Oh, many, many, many times.
Yeah, it was just, isn't that where wasn't Jackie Chan in one of those?
Yeah, at least he was in at least the first one.
Yeah, I think that's where his debut came from. But, one of the other things people don't realize is he was a hell of a football player. He got injured, and it's kind of what led to his acting career. But he went to Florida State on a football scholarship. He went to, and Lee Corso, if you ever watch college football on Saturdays, the countdown there. Lee Corso's there. He's the guy that puts the funny, hat on or head of the whatever, mascot that he chooses that week. And they were friends. And he scored a couple touchdowns. He played fullback, and then he got injured, and then he lost his spleen, and he got a knee injury, and he missed a year. And then eventually he ended up dropping out of Florida State, which is, you never knew what the guy could have been. But I believe that, if I'm thinking right, you got Dom DeLuise, Dean Martin, Roger Moore, Jackie Chan. That movie was so awesome. That was it was so, by the way, Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 29. Jerks. IMDb gives it a 60. How does a 6.1? Who's over on Rotten Tomatoes that doesn't like the Cannonball Run? How did you take that movie too serious? It was a great movie. You can't take that movie serious. It was awesome. Think about all the movies he was in. Here's a few. Smokey and the Bandit, right? Love that. The End, Longest Yard, silent movie. I mean, we're going on. Cop and a Half, Breaking In, Megaforce, Hoopa, Stoker Ace, Cannonball 2. Come on. Goodness me.
Don't
just to name
Boogie
a
Nights.
few. Oh, can't forget Boogie Nights. Can't. And his last movie, which I think came out not too long ago, I think it might have even come out this year, it was big. I mean, as far as what people were saying about how good he acted in that. And, it's a shame. It was called, look at this. Look what we got. He's got a couple movies coming out. He got Shadow Fighter and Defining Moments still coming out this year. What? Yeah. Burt Reynolds. Gone too soon. 82. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
So if the failing New York Times has an anonymous editorial, can you believe it? Anonymous, meaning gutless, a gutless editorial. We're doing a great job. The poll numbers are through the roof. Our poll numbers are great. And guess what? Nobody is going to come close to beating me in 2020 because of what we've done.
We'll see about that. Look, and I'm going to get deeper into it a little bit later on the who could have wrote it. And could there be other reasons that somebody wrote this? And we'll get and what the repercussions could be. If I was Trump, you know what I would do today? I'd come out and say, I wrote it. I wanted to see if I could get that to the New York Times. It does two things. It embarrasses the New York Times potentially, and they'll say, no, it wasn't us. And they'll say, yeah, it was. It was me. No, it wasn't you. Yeah, it was me. No, it wasn't you. But it proved that it wasn't me. I wanted to show the world how easy it was. What are they going to say? He's lying. It would be great, though, right? Like the sting. You can't prove it, because to prove it, you may have to out somebody. And the person that did do it, if they wanted to claim it, they'd have to come forward. It's a genius idea. It is. It'd be interesting, that's for sure. But nobody wants. It's interesting. This entire thing is interesting. The other interesting thing going on in this place we call the United States of America is what's happening with Kavanaugh. We forget about him. Oddly enough, in what should be a really interesting thing going on as far as at least watching some politics at work, which isn't anymore. It's a show. It has become back page because the op-ed piece, because of, you had Woodward's book and the excerpts that were coming out. You had a few days of stuff. So today, Cory Booker released a bunch of stuff.
I broke no Senate law, but if somebody wants to make that charge, and they're not just empty threats from a bully, if it's a real substantive charge, bring it, I say.
He released a bunch of documents that weren't going to be released, and he wanted everybody to know, all kinds of things about him, Roe v. Wade, all of this kind of stuff. And look, there's a bunch of stuff from many. I mean, Elena Kagan's a perfect example. We didn't see a ton of stuff from her. They've got more than enough. This is about delay. It's about delay. It's an inevitability coming. Like I said, unless anything on here was you running a child sex slave ring or any kind of sex slave ring or a dog fighting thing or something like that, you're not going to get anything. You're not.
We're being shielded from seeing not just 90% of this person's record, but records during critical periods of this person's career when they were in the White House with issues of torture and human rights.
That's what you got? They don't care about that. I'm going to tell you guys, the left doesn't care about that. The left cares about a few things. Roe v. Wade, LGBT, affirmative action, anything that they could take back to their base and scream, look, you guys are victims, and now they're bringing on the guy that's going to be the biggest victimizer of all time, and this is going to be in the courts, and now you're going to be victims of courts, and that's what it's going to be. What did Cher tweet out today? Something about, like, every LGBT person. She left out the Q, so you guys are on your own. Cher didn't care about you guys. Telling you guys that right now. That's what I heard. But every LGBT person, women are going, no contraceptives for you. You're going back to the kitchen. I mean, she tweeted out some of those insane things, and that shows you where we're going, and that essentially your life is over, right? Your life is over, as you know it. You're going to have to go back underground if you're gay, back in the closet. There's no more marriage equality for you. Don't even think about asking for a cake, for God's sakes. All of this stuff. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Chad, what if a state challenges Roe v. Wade? What if it does? What if it gets up there and they side with the state? I've always said I think states should have far more rights than they do, far more freedom than they do. It's about states' rights anyways, isn't it? Well, yeah, but I mean, that's the argument. I would like to hear a real argument of why he shouldn't be it. Tell me why. Not just because the right appointed him. Tell me why. Give me that he is incapable of doing this job because of what? He's stupid? He's ignorant? He's unqualified? What is the argument? That's what I would like to know. What is it? What is it? And I don't believe a lot of, like, when I've seen the left, yesterday Dianne Feinstein went after him with guns and all these school shootings. By the way, as we've pointed out, even NPR did a huge thing that 90% of them never even happened. It's another one of those 97% settled science things. Just got to believe what I say because that's what I say and I heard it somewhere, so it's got to be true. And that's the kind of stuff. And those are the people out there who are deciding this guy's fate. Knowing the numbers they're not even playing with aren't real.
Documents that could be revealing his views on Roe v. Wade, his views on torture, his views on an array of subjects are being hid from the American public.
And their whole thing is it's Roe v. Wade. Again, Roe v. Wade's vitally important. It's vitally important to them. I mean, that's how this thing started out today. This.
Our bodies, our choice. Our bodies, our choice. Our bodies, our choice. We will not go back. We will not go back. We will not go back. The system is corrupt, and that's why we disrupt. The system is corrupt, and that's why we disrupt.
The system is corrupt, and that's what we discussed. And I'm not following on that one. I'm a little lost. I feel like I'm missing. I feel like there's a word that should be there that I'm missing. But that's how, I mean, it's a show sham, and that's exactly what it is. Cory Booker said this is a sham. You're right, it is a sham. It is a sham. He's going to get confirmed. It's going to happen. You guys caused a lot of this mess when you decided to go out there and say, hey, you know what we're going to do? The nuclear option. We're going to use it. No, don't use it, Harry. That's what Mitch McConnell said. Harry's like, we're going to do this. No, don't do that. And then he did. And you're going to rue that. You're going to rue it. Little Jimmy Stewart there. He's going to rue it. And he rued it. He rued the hell out of it. Ruin it right now. Harry's not there. He didn't care. So enjoy. This is what it is. Still waiting. And people are going to say, well, what does he say about this? He's already said, look, nobody's above the law, including the president. But what about his views or what about his beliefs on Roe v. Wade? Could he not offer an opinion on something, even if he believes that morally it's wrong? Could he not say legally it's acceptable? No, it's impossible. I was arguing with somebody today. Say it's impossible. He's going to have a biased point of view, and you can't escape that. I said, really? I said, you told me that all these people at the FBI who are sending text messages can both be biased and do a good job. Well, it's different. I'm like, okay. It drives me crazy. It does. It is crazy, isn't it? When you think about it, the insanity of what we've got going on now. How far these things. I went back and watched some of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's, nomination hearings, and they were just so. This is. I don't know where we got it. We got it. Judge Bork. Remember that? And then Clarence Thomas. Oh goodness me, that was insane. And since then, it's just been. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You text along with us. Love to hear from you. Who do you think wrote it? Who do you think wrote that op-ed piece? We're going to dig deeper into it, like who may have written it, who may not have written it. One of the things I'm curious about when it comes to the op-ed piece is, and I'm curious, I look at it, and is it the what ifs? Like the what if somebody didn't write it from there? Because I've heard a lot of, other places are questioning it, and even other liberal-leaning things are questioning it because they know what comes if the Times screws up. And we're going to dig deeper into that. And it's nuts. And one of the other things, Phil, did you see who backed Trump today?
I did
Twitter? Not. Kim Jong-un. I got your back. He's a good dude. And then he thanked him. Thanks for having my back. Oh, my God. Oh, please. You can't make this stuff up. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I'm going to need my MyPillow tonight because after the movie I see tonight, and it's going to be The Nun. Right, I'm going to go see The Nun. And I'm going to need my MyPillow because it's going to be scary. It's going to be scary. MyPillow helps me sleep. It really does. I look at there was a study that came out the other day, and I was reading it, and they talk about the lack of sleep and what it can do to your body, not only for weight gain. Weight gain then causes people to struggle with high blood pressure and then heart disease, things of that nature. And getting a good night's sleep is of the utmost importance. And just making one little change like this is going to change the way you sleep. MyPillow is incredible right now for the listeners out there, the Chad Benson Show land. 4-pack is what you're going to get. 50% off. 2 premium pillows, 2 Go Anywhere pillows, 4 total pillows, 50% off. It's simple and easy. All you have to do is call 800-983-4975 or go to MyPillow.com. When you do, use promo code Benson. You're going to get a better night's rest with the world's most comfortable pillow. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. A lot of stuff still to get to. We're going to talk about the NFL. It kicks off in just a little while. The season shall begin. We're going to touch on that. Also, Alex Jones, Where does he go from here? Chad Benson Show.
A bird in the hand is worth 140 on Twitter, so tweet your beak off at Chad Benson Show Twitter. And if instant gratification is your thing, hit Chad up on Instagram at Chad Benson. Your bird will thank you.
You got some mighty pretty lips. Burt Reynolds passed away today, 82, had a heart attack, died in Florida. I was going back, so I'm listening to like some of the stuff he's done, right? So White Lightning, right? Like great movie, right? Just, Hustle, Gator, Smokey and the Bandit, Semi-Tough, Hooper, Rough Cut, Smokey and the Bandit 2, Boom, Cannonball Run, Paternity, Sharky's Machine, baby. Best little whorehouse in Texas. Best Friends, I remember that. Stroker Ace, right? Smokey 3, Cannonball 2. Goodness me. He was on the Golden Girls, for God's sakes. She still lives. Rent-A-Cop, awful. The late 80s, early 90s were not good for him. Rent-A-Cop was bad. Cop and a Half, awful. He was on 90210. That is awesome. Then he did, Evening Shade. And that was pretty good, right? Did 100 there. Did Evening Shade and a couple other things. And then he made a comeback with Boogie Nights. Jack Horner was his name. Oh, that was great. Great. And then he was in a bunch of, some B movies and stuff. And he did some other stuff. And he finished out his last few years. I love the fact that he did Robot Chicken. That is so great. Shows you how cool you are. But the last movie star that came out last year, it was really, really good. He played Papa Hutch, and it was just really, really good. He's got 2 more movies coming out. Defining Moments. It's completed but not released. Shadow Fighter, which I think was released just on like DVD or something. But man, Burt had a hell of a career. Like, you look back in life and you can say, that was my life. That's a victory, right? Like, that's a victory right there. Playgirl, right? Lonnie Anderson, back when Lonnie Anderson was the thing. Oh, kid, she was the thing for a while. She was on WKRP in Cincinnati. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So Alex, if you guys don't know what happened to Alex Jones, I'm here to tell you right now. Chad's going to give me the airwaves. Have fun. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I knew this was coming. They were after me all the time. I could see it happening. The reason I went to see Marco Rubio yesterday is because I know he's part plant. I can't even get through it. So he was banned from Twitter, and we figured out he gets. What'd you say? What app? What app's one? Kick is one of these apps he can use, I guess. Periscope he probably can't use because Twitter owns it. Is anybody doing Vines anymore, or is that not even a thing? Like, that felt like it was really cool for a minute, and then we're done with that now. But what was the other one? Snapchat. So nobody owns Snapchat yet. And I don't know how that was, because Snapchat's only 6 seconds, right? Or 8 seconds?
No, it's a little bit longer than that.
Oh, you can snap for a little bit longer than that? Yeah, I'm going to have to do Snapchat, and it's going to be, and of course, all of my stuff should be destroyed anyways, because we know the government is coming after me. But I was going to prove yesterday. I was going to actually water Marco. This thing's come off the rails fast. He's got nowhere to go. And I was reading an article yesterday that, like, he is taking a hit. He's taking a hit. He is. InfoWars, and Twitter came out, and today, which I was like shocked, they came out and said, hey, by the way, we're going to make sure we find out InfoWars and all of this other stuff that's out there, all of this other crap, that they're going to try to work around this ban, and we're going to make sure that that's done. So MySpace, and if I'm MySpace, I'm making a play for the guy, because that's going to get you some eyeballs. It is 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So let's talk about that op-ed piece. I want to talk about the, who wrote it, this, that, and the other, but I want to talk about the what ifs, because there are what ifs in this. 323-538-2423. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
It strengthens the case that we need to be acting in a bipartisan way, in a measured and thoughtful way, to restrain excesses by the president and to consider what other steps we could take.
So, here's the thing. Our founding fathers, when they set this up, they got together and collectively said, well, we come from all kinds of places, and we're going to set this up as a republic. We're going to do these kind of things. We're going to do it so there is some gridlock and there is some checking and balancing. We're going to have 3 equal branches of government. We want that. The left's attack on Trump is what it is. It's an attack on Trump. They don't like Trump. Look, I'll be honest. I talk to a lot of people in Washington. I have a couple friends who, one's a senator, one's a congressman, and they're on the right side of the aisle, and they can't stand Trump for a lot of reasons. One is because he's not them. He's not Washington. And that really is, I've heard him say that on a few occasions. He's not us, which is awful, right? But a lot of it is they can't stand Trump. And because of the chaos, right? This is the other thing. Trump brings chaos. Chaos brings eyeballs. And then you can see all the other stuff that's going on. Right? They like to act with nobody's paying attention. It's much easier to get some done. What does the magician say? Look at my hand over here. They're doing something over here with the other hand because you're focusing on this. And that's kind of what politics has always been about. It's where the power is. So you got to go there, right? To the kings and the queens. And you got to lobby, and it's all done in quiet, and it's all hush-hush. They don't like having eyeballs on them. Trump brings with him chaos. Chaos comes with eyeballs. People then start to scrutinize a little bit more all sides of aisles, which I think we always should. Right? But here's the question I have for people out there who, in many ways, and again, the left, this is another part of the puzzle to get rid of Trump, this op-ed piece. You got the Woodward book coming out. You've had Omarosa's book, which has come and gone. You had Wolf's book and all of, not Wolf Blitzer, but that other Wolf. You've had all of these things that are happening. And all of this stuff is coming out. And now you're going to have, and I think it's debuts next week in Toronto, or maybe it's this weekend, Fahrenheit 11/9, which I'm sure will do huge money. I love how much Michael Moore hates capitalism, except when it benefits him, like a lot of people. So you have all of this stuff coming out, and it's always, here's a fire, pew, pew, pew. It's all firing at Trump. And a lot of it, some of it is self-inflicted, but it's really at Trump. It's not at the establishment of all of this stuff. But I have a question for all these people who want him gone, who believe the ends justify the means, is what if this op-ed piece, because it will eventually come out, whoever he or she is that wrote this, whether it's a collective group of people with one person who put, essentially pen to paper, for lack of a better term, and gave it to the New York Times, people who work in the administration, whether it's a singular individual that wrote this, or whether it's somebody outside of any of the administration or any of this stuff who just basically took a collection of stories. And we've seen this, we've seen this on numerous occasions in journalism. And the last one was that Rolling Stone article about, this woman and her situation with rape and all of these kind of things. And it really wasn't anything. It was she took a collection of stories and interviews and kind of made up a person. We don't know. But my question is, if you're the New York Times, you gotta know. I mean, if this goes south, because you even have other resistance, left-leaning papers who are calling out the New York Times saying, you better have this right. Some of it may be jealousy. It's like, why didn't we get that? My God, we're the Washington Post. But they're also saying, if this goes wrong, our credibility, not just the New York Times, but our credibility as that voice of resistance, our credibility as of people going after the president is going to be scrutinized even by people in the middle who are trying to reach, because we're hoping to reshape government come November. We're going to be the ones who are going to get caught in the wash and also pay the price because of the New York Times. And the left is, look, this is another piece of that puzzle to get rid of the president.
In the last weeks of Richard Nixon, people around Nixon were worried about how he might behave if he were pushed to the brink of resignation. James Schlesinger, the Secretary of Defense, told people in the Pentagon, if you get a message from Nixon for something like putting tanks around the White House, somehow keep himself in office, Schlesinger said, disregard that order unless it is countersigned by me. But I've never seen anything like this in modern presidential history. If you think about it, someone who is in place in a high position in the Trump administration saying the president is unstable to the level possibly of the 25th Amendment.
That's Michael Beschloss there. He's an American historian, written a bunch of books. I don't think he's nuts. I think for a lot of people out there, they think he's crazy like a fox. I think that you give him too much credit. Right? It is, it's interesting though. It is. But this is where everybody's going with this, right? Is now the left, this is another piece of the puzzle. This is another nail in that coffin, right? This is another situation. We've got a book coming out by Bob Woodward. We got to respect Bob Woodward. And I'm not saying don't, because he's a hell of a journalist. Right? And I think a lot of what's in there is probably true. I do. Everybody's got their opinions. I had friends who worked in government, and I had a buddy who worked in the Obama administration, and he said, look, you know what? I wasn't his biggest fan. Said some unkind things, but they worked together. It was what it was. It's crazy though. It is. And I want to see what happens, because we all want to know. Right? If you're interested in politics, you want to know, because we've got a sitting president who's somebody supposedly inside the administration who believes that this person at times is incapable of doing the job in front of him. That is interesting. It really, really is interesting. It's very interesting. But if it happens to be that this was something that really should not have been printed because it wasn't all it said it was supposed to be, because everybody's coming out and denying it, and that maybe the person that wrote it is, 12th in charge of the ag side of our, of the ag association, has never actually been to a White House briefing and has heard from his boss's 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 boss. And this, you got a problem on your hands. You got a problem on your hands, because your credibility with the left is there because they like your politics, but you're looking to get the people in the middle who aren't thrilled by the whole way the resistance has gone. They can see through a lot of the BS and baloney, and they can, discern a lot. This will hurt your credibility. Kind of like, Dan Rather's credibility took a massive hit. Brian Williams, things like that. Hell, I would respect. Here's the thing about Brian Williams. Brian Williams ginned up stuff that he actually did in a lot of ways. He was on a helicopter. The copter in front of him was getting shot at. He wasn't, but he was on a helicopter in Iraq. I mean, those are things that were real. He just told a fish story and let it get out of hand, and several of those things. This would be a massive 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. It's Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here. Just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
NFL kicks off in exactly a little bit. I'm so excited. I am. And that's one of our poll questions today is, will you watch the NFL? I'm surprised that actually, it really depends. It's the anger that some people have still. And I'm like, I don't have that in me. I don't. I don't have it in me. And then it's crazy. Like, can't you just go, get over it? I can't get over it. I saw there's a great article out there done, a piece by a guy playing for the 49ers who was also a vet, saying, don't think that all vets hate Colin Kaepernick for what he's done. But here's my argument with Colin Kaepernick, right? Here's my argument on Colin Kaepernick. The best thing that ever happened to him. Follow me. He was a quarterback that was lightning in a bottle for Jim Harbaugh and a good team that Harbaugh put together that snuck up on some people that ended up going to the Super Bowl. And he, just as quickly as he came, he faded. He struggled with the offense in and itself had to be very. It could be a one-off situation. By the time they had film on him, it could be a one-off situation. They knew how to contain him. So he would be at best, a lower third quarterback, I'm thinking. But the reality is probably a backup quarterback. Now he's an icon for a lot of people. So could I not argue that he is, for all intents and purposes, benefiting off this and making a name for himself? And which, hindsight, it's like, wow, look what he did. But the reality is probably the best thing that's ever happened to him. Probably the best thing that's ever happened to him was this. I think so. Absolutely. And by the way, Nike's up, and they're only $1 or so behind where they were when this all happened. And Puma and Adidas, for those of you not keeping score, also took a huge hit that day. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Let's see here. At wildcard something _ card 99. No way you're dumb enough to equate a justice of the Supreme Court to FBI lawyer investigation. I mean, you are dumb, but that is a whole new level. Sub-level. Oh, I see. Okay, well then, there we go. Another person calls me a clown because he's mad about the InfoWars. If you didn't hear that Alex Jones is no longer part of Twitter. And how many times do you have to explain this? I think if I have to explain this to people, right? I think if I have to explain this to people, then his freedom of speech is not being taken away. All right? His freedom of speech is not being taken away at all. These are just places where he can no longer broadcast from his InfoWars or himself. He's still allowed to say the things he says about, all the stuff that he says. Another tweeter, I called them tweeters. Apparently, Scott Ice Photo believes that I like Alex Jones. No, because this is what happens. This is the lost. Remember what I've been talking about, the translation thing, with tweets and stuff like that. It's how it's taken. It's not how it is received. Because I tweeted out earlier, hey, if you guys are looking for Alex Jones, you might want to try MySpace. And the other one is like, I was going to tweet to Alex Jones that he's been kicked off Twitter, but I guess I should probably try to find him on Oh, that's right. Maybe oh, yeah, well, I'll just call him. And he writes in, okay, I'll bite. Following basic logic, you tweeted about contacting Alex Jones, eventually suggesting you should call him. I commented that you must really like him. The reason was suggest I was referring to the same Alex Jones of whom you were speaking. Did I miss something? Yes. It's sarcasm. I'm not a fan of Alex Jones. And I'll be honest, I didn't, it's not my thing. He found a niche marketplace that's growing in some ways. And he exploited it. And he's made a ton of money on it, although he's struggling right now. But it is what it is, and if that's your jam, that's fine. His free speech is not taken away. His free speech is not taken away. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. A lot of stuff still to get to. We're going to get to a bunch of stuff today. So the NFL kicks off tonight. Now, producer Phil, I'm going to ask for your pick. Give me the Super Bowl teams. Who do you think it's going to be? What do you feel?
It's not going to be the Redskins.
Because always next year. Let's just start with it's always next season. You should tweet that out like the day the ball's kicked in the air. You should tweet out, well, Redskins fans, there's always next year.
I want to see the Vikings go.
Yeah, that'd be great. Because of Kirk Cousins, too, because I think it was a slap in the face the way they treated him there. For whatever reason, they hated him. Yeah, so, no, the Vikings, that's a good pick, man. That's a good pick. Now, the question is Philadelphia is not the Vegas money. The Patriots still are Vegas money. Patriots in an awful division. You know who I think's going to have a big year? I smell something cooking in New York, and it's not the Jets, man. I just have this eerie feeling that out of nowhere, the Giants are going to get in at 11-5 and 10-6. Eli's going to be Eli in the playoffs. And they're just going to look up, and Odell's going to be a beast. And they got, it's just, it feels like it could be one of those years. And the Patriots, I don't know, man. Is this the year we finally see that age catches up to Tom? Is this it? Is this it? Is this the year that age? He says now he wants to pay another 6 years. Oh, goodness me. But I'm excited. I'm going to watch the NFL. And I know a lot of people out there, they're not. And they've got all kinds of reasons. And somebody tweeted at me earlier or texted me earlier and said, I'm not watching the NFL because of what happened. I burned all my Nike stuff. And it's a win-win for me because I now can spend more time with my family. And my response was, so the only reason that you're spending time with your family is because Colin Kaepernick kneeled during the anthem. So essentially, before that, you chose Colin Kaepernick in the NFL over your family. No, that's not what I meant. I'm like, okay, I'm curious. I think it's a fair question to ask. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. So I think I like your pick. I'm gonna go Rams. I feel the Rams have a run in them this year, and for the AFC, producer Phil, a year or two early. Here's my out of the box crazy pick: Chargers. Boom! How crazy would that be? And they're going to be sharing a stadium soon. What? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. 'Tis the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
There was a fact-finding mission here overnight to try to find out who this writer could be, and it could be anyone. This is a president who is already isolated and seems very much to be paranoid, and from his tweets, he is now seething, calling for this writer to turn himself in and using the word treason.
What? Who is it? Who? I said it every day. Who is it? Is it you, or you? Who is it? Who wrote it? Who wrote the scathing article? The op-ed piece in the New York Times that's going to take down the President of the United States? Who could it be? Nobody knows. We're all guessing, right? Is it Brutus? Oh, Chad. How very educated of you. No, it's not. Is it the undersecretary of the undersecretary of the undersecretary of the Department of Agriculture? Possibly. There could be up to 900 people this could be. Is it Mike Pompeo? He has said it's not me. Is it Pence? No. Right? Well, somebody in this room did something I don't like. I don't know who it is. Neither do you. Is it a collection of people? Meaning one person authored it, but it's several people who voice stuff to this person, who also had concerns, authored it, and sent it to the New York Times. Is it somebody within the New York Times who has spoken to several people and has created a fictional character called Anonymous White House person, authored it, said I got it from somebody, put it in there? I don't know. Nobody knows who did it. What we do know is it's out there and it's anonymous.
Nobody has ever done in less than a 2-year period what we've done. So when you tell me about some anonymous source within the administration, probably who's failing and probably here for all the wrong reasons.
It's possible. Again, we don't know who it is. Have we seen anything like this before? No. It's insane. It's crazy. It's nuts. I sit back and I just think, sweet Mama Jamma, how did we arrive at this moment, at this time, where we have this situation going on, where we have an op-ed piece written by somebody supposedly in the White House talking about how at times unstable, uninformed the president is, making decisions on a whim, second guessing the second guess of his third guess of the fifth guess, going off on tangents and no, we've never had this before. Never. The temper tantrum things. And I'll say this, the one, and the piece at times wasn't negative. It says, look, we're the resistance inside the White House, but we're not the resistance that's so popular out there of the left because we believe a lot of what this president is doing is good. So don't confuse the two. But how can you not? Secondly, the temper tantrums. If you go back in history and you looked at presidents, there's a lot of them had bad tempers, right? Like Lyndon B had a temper. There was some throwing stuff kind of guys in the White House. There was some, we're going to have to get a new desk in here thing. So it just wasn't reported like it is nowadays. What happens in the White House, kind of like a locker room. What happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. What happens in the White House stays in the White House. Not like that anymore. It's not. But it is bizarre, a world. We live in a world that's just, it's nuts. It's crazy. We have a book a week, it seems like, coming out. Some new earth-shattering thing about the president. 2-3 weeks ago was Omarosa, right? This is it. There's a tape. I'm still waiting for the tape. Anybody heard the tape? Anybody? She's gone. Now you've got Woodward coming out. He had the floor for 30 seconds, and now that book is still going to come out. And supposedly he's named some sources on there. Some of those sources, who the excerpts have come out of the book, have already said, yeah, that's a bunch of crap, right? But this book's going to come out. I'm sure there's a lot more salaciousness inside of it. I'm not saying it's all lies, because I don't think it is all lies. I think if it was a lot of other journalists, I would say, you're probably taking liberties here. Bob Woodward, no, not so much. No, he's getting paid for it. Of course it's going to be salacious. Right? Who knows what it is? Maybe Trump wrote it. How hilarious would that be? If I was Trump yesterday, I would have went out there and said, it's me. I wrote it. I want to see if they'd publish it. It's a bunch of baloney. Oh, wow. the New York Times would be like, uh-oh, wow, crazy would that be? But who knows what it is? But it's more of us talking about other things in the world of politics. And look, I like politics, but I like to study it. I like to look at it. I like to see where it goes. I like the idea of talking about different ideas and working through things. It's not what we have anymore. This is a reality show world we live in. We got a reality show president who's brought his chaos with him, which I said he was going to do, which I say it's not all bad, but it is at times, it's nuts. It really is. And even in the op-ed piece, one of the things I agree with, it says there's so much crap goes on around that even the good doesn't get covered the way it should, which I think is very, very real. The New York Times is hearing it from other large publications that are, the New York Times-esque, like Washington Post, who, they're part of that, like, they don't like Trump movement. They're very liberal, but they've come out and said something too. Basically, you guys better know what's going on, because if this goes south, we're all going to pay some price.
Well, the Times says that this official wanted to remain anonymous, and they believed that publishing the essay anonymously was, quote, the only way to deliver an important perspective to our audience. The president is suggesting this is treason, and the White House is saying that whoever this official is should resign immediately.
Yeah. I don't know. It is crazy. It is. It's nuts. And so we spend you look at the last 48 hours, 72 hours this weekend. We're Labor Day's over. This is when politics starts to come back to normal. Kids are back in school. Politicians are back in D.C. Everybody's working around the country. Basically, the summertime is over. We're back to some sort of normalcy, if you will. And this is when they should be looking at, not only ahead to elections, but how they can get some things done. And that stuff's kind of going on behind the scenes. But the reality is the Kavanaugh hearings are going on. And that's just another blank show that's happening. You've got this now. It is frustrating at times, and I get frustrated. I do, and I think a lot of people out there get frustrated that you spend the entire morning, if you listen to any of these things, rather than saying, hey, you know what have you guys done? I mean, you got taxes done. It's great. We'll see how what that looks like in the end, but you've got this tariff thing going on, which is helping a few industries, but it's hurting a lot more, and we'll see how that plays itself out. You've got some other issues out there that we need to be, working on, or at least working towards, and instead it's 24/7 craziness.
I'm not sure it matters. There are op-eds like that in the New York Times every day. It's just a different byline, or I guess a non-byline here. I just have to correct the record. It's not clear to us anyway that it's somebody in the White House. So they're saying senior administration official. That could be many people. There are, I think, thousands of political appointees, hundreds of folks who would qualify under that title alone.
Yeah, apparently up to 900 people qualify for that. And she's right about one thing. I mean, you could put anybody in this that's going to get it published in the New York Times. Right? You can put it, because every day there is op-ed pieces about how awful the president is, how unstable the president is, how insane the president is, how he's destroying America inch by inch by inch by inch by inch by inch, and that's all he's doing. So this is nothing new. It would be big news. Like, let's just say, for the sake of argument, it is somebody up there. They find out who it is, and it's somebody in a higher ranking official that does work closely with the president. That is somebody right? That's a name that you've heard of. Because it could be somebody, like I said, that is so far down the line that they don't even know, he doesn't even know who the person is. But let's say it's somebody big. Does that change your mind? Right? Like if Mike Pompeo came out, if John Kelly, we found out it's John Kelly. I mean, these are all hypotheticals. Does that change your mind about the president? Would that change your mind about the president? If it was Mike Pence, who's like, I didn't do it. How funny would that be? Would that change your mind? Would it? I'm curious.
The deputy chief of staff for Vice President Pence tweeted this morning, quote, the vice president puts his name on his op-eds, adding, quote, our office is above such amateur acts. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, traveling in India, denied he wrote the op-ed.
I know someone will say, gosh, you didn't answer the question. It's not mine.
Yeah. But would it change your mind? And I think that's something that also needs to be asked by people out there. If this was somebody who was high in the administration, somebody you recognized, somebody you knew, somebody you maybe respected, right? Because what I see is a lot of these ancillary characters that leave and Trump dumps all over them, and I see his people, and they get all, that person's a horrible human being anyways, you know. If it was somebody like a John Kelly, does that change your mind? A little bit? Does that shift some of your thinking? Saying, well, maybe there are some issues here that we need to look at more. Or are you just so blinded fandom, if you will, and you just can't see any of it? Fair question. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Got a new poll. I'm going to put it up here in a second about the NFL. But first, let's talk about shaving children, shall we? Dollar Shave Club is amazing. I love Dollar Shave Club. I use it every day. I do. And not because I shave every day, because I don't. But what I do is I shower every day, and I've got my body wash. It's amazing. I put gel in my hair every day, and actually I put paste. It's pomade stuff. Boogie specific pomade, to be exact. And it's just incredible what they have. They've got hand cream. They've got Big Cloud Good Shake hand cream. It is amazing. So what are you waiting for? Why are you on the fence, right? Why are you on the fence? Don't be on the fence. Do the right thing. Your hair, your face, your body will appreciate how nice you look, you smell, and you feel. It's simple. It's easy. You can join today. $5, free shipping. You're going to start with their Daily Essential Starter Set. After that, everything's going to ship to you at regular price. I say get the pomade. If you want to do some with your hair, get the pomade. You're going to love it. But you can start with any of their starter set. You can't go wrong with any of them. It's simple and easy. All you have to do is go to dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. 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 Check it out for yourself. You will not be disappointed. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. We'll touch on the Kavanaugh hearings and wait to hear what Cher said. Oh, my Lord. Chad Benson Show.
Are you PC and groupthink brainwashed? Time for a double detox shot of Chad.
Our bodies are choice. Our bodies are choice. Our bodies are choice. We will not go back. We will not go back. We will not go back. The system is corrupt, and that's why we disrupt. The system is corrupt, and that's why we disrupt.
Oh, goodness me. It is crazy, right? So that's people chanting and just doing that. Because, Kavanaugh is the devil of the world. And you know how I know? Because Cher, the voice of conscience for our time, right? It's like Plato, Aristotle, Cher. She tweeted out, Kavanaugh equals, are you guys ready for this? All LGBT. Now, she missed a Q, and I think there's a Q plus, and the rainbow is really diluted, but rights taken away from them, women losing a choice in contraceptive, people of color losing voting rights, Trump getting power to change old laws, make new laws by overriding and bypassing Congress, Trump never getting indicted for crimes, our lives equal never the same. Do you believe in life after Trump? That's nuts. People think that. So there was a dump today on the Kavanaugh hearings with Booker releasing some documents out there that, choice is, it's not settled and race and, let's be real. I still question, what do you think is going to happen? And this is what happens when you look at government too much for all of the things in life that you need. that you have to go back to government to make sure that parts of other government don't override. And it drives me crazy. So, he's getting when he's allowed to speak, which is, again, this isn't about him. He didn't even have to show up at these things because it's about everybody else having a chance to speak. And so you've got, let's talk to Kamala Harris. Here she is talking about race.
Have you ever heard the term, quote, racial spoils system?
Yes, and that is a term that sometimes is used to. Yes, I've heard that term.
Okay, all right. So have you heard it? Not. Do you know what it is? Have you heard about it? Yes. Okay. Okay. How about my favorite? Because this is what those people really only care about.
Can you think of any laws that give government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm happy to answer a more specific question.
Because that's what they want to know. It's like, are you putting us back in the kitchen? How is voting rights for people of color going to be taken away? I'm curious. How is that going to happen? I mean, what, why is he not qualified? What is it? This insanity of craziness and feelings that people are throwing at you because you're going to be being told by other people this is what's going to happen to you if this guy is elected, this guy's nominated and gets through the process. If this guy over here gets to do this job, this is what happens to you. This person over here gets this. It's all going to go away. Your life is going to. It's not. It's not. The insanity of it, because we have to make sure that everybody knows this guy is singularly the biggest boogeyman we have seen until the next boogeyman or woman come along, and that person's going to be the rah. It's crazy, and I sit here and I scratch my head, and it really is just lunacy anymore. It really, really is. He's still going to get there. Again, there has this big, thing that happened today when they put out all this stuff about him. There was no dogfighting ring, right? He doesn't have a prostitution ring. He's going to get confirmed. And you know what? Everything's kind of going to be the same way it was today as it will be tomorrow. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Oh, what a nightmare. Bunch of butthurt people out there. So last month, the Academy Awards said, hey, we're going to do this new thing because nobody's watching us anymore because we live in an echo chamber and we think everybody sees these movies even though they don't make any money. And it's only because of popular movies do we get to make these movies. So we're going to add a popular movie category. But because of outcry, oh my God, it's going to go against the art. They've decided, no, we're going to scrap that. Bunch of wusses. You bunch of wusses, you guys, you bunch of wusses. Bunch of wusses. Drives me crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So, did you guys hear the news?
Breaking news. Amazon has just joined the $1 trillion club. You can see the stock rocketing is at an all-time high of 2%. This in part on news that is taking on Facebook and Google potentially in that $90 billion online ad market. The stock is an unparalleled juggernaut. It's been growing at a rate of growth the last few years unseen.
Yeah, it's rolling. And now you've got people who are coming out saying, man, Bezos is too much money. The usual stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. I get it. You're upset. Somebody else has something you don't have, and you're mad. And the only reason he's got that is because he came into your house and he took it from you. Chad, what are you trying to get at? Look, capitalism should be easy to understand. Capitalism's biggest problem, government. Government comes in, overregulates, overtaxes, makes things far more complicated than it should be. Companies decide we'll go elsewhere. Or to make things here, this is what we have to do to make it so we can do it here. So you get the likes of the Bernie Sanders of the world.
Warehouse workers at Amazon are paid 9% less than the industry average for comparable work nationally. 18% less than average in Seattle, 19% less than average in Atlanta, and 22% less than average in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Well, you're not cherry picking there. But do they have jobs? Did anybody put a gun to their head? Why are they paid less? Well, we like things cheap. Okay, well, what can we do? Just curious. I hear people bitch about Amazon all the time. I worked so hard, it's awful.
I asked Amazon workers to share their experiences with my office.
Good workers or bad workers?
And working conditions at Amazon. A former Amazon worker from Tennessee said, and I quote, I worked at Amazon for 5 months at $11 an hour as a full-time employee. I was on SNAP, that's the food stamp program, and had to live with my parents and my 3 children because I could not afford to find a safe location for my family.
Yeah, that's horrible. Did Amazon put you in that position? Did you have a job before Amazon? Did you leave a job? Was Amazon the only job you've ever had? If we're going to break down and take a sob story, let's go from the beginning to there. Why are you living with your parents? What happened? Are you a high school graduate, a college graduate? Where's the mom? Are you both working? Are you not working? Is she not around? Let's examine everything because we're blaming the job for your plight. Why? What are you doing to make it so you're bettering yourself to get in a better position? Did Amazon come to you and say, if you don't work here, we're going to shoot you? If you don't work here, we're going to shoot you. See, here's the reality. Bezos, who we're going to love talking about, Tucker.
Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, is worth about $150 billion. That's enough to make him the richest man in the world by far. And it's certainly enough to pay his employees well, but he doesn't. A huge number of Amazon workers are so poorly paid, they qualify for federal welfare benefits. Nearly 1 in 3 Amazon employees in Arizona, for example, was on food stamps last year. Jeff Bezos isn't paying his workers enough to eat, so you made up the difference with your tax dollars.
Which is not right. It's not. But let's examine everything and how we get to this. First of all, Bezos is no more than a poster boy. He is somebody that they can look at and say, look at this guy. He has all of this. You have none of it. The only reason you're in the situation you're in is because he was able to be greedy and he just wants more, and he wants to pay you less. Let's examine everything, right? Let's examine the whole enchilada, if you will. Government and capitalism, they're not best friends. Crony capitalism is alive and well, but real free market capitalism isn't. If we're going to just look at Bezos in general, it's a global world that he lives in. He can take all of those jobs probably tomorrow, minus the shipping jobs, and move them somewhere else. You don't have to work in those places. You don't. Well, he could pay us better. Probably could. He works on thin margins and large margins, large groups in thin margins, meaning he's looking to make a cent on a lot rather than make a lot on 1 or 2 things. But what goes into all of this? Well, we as taxpayers, we're paying. We're paying for that. We're paying to supplement that. That should piss us off. But what should really piss us off is all of the regulation, the rules, the taxes, and all of the other things that happen along the way that he gets charged with that then takes away from that worker, that then takes away from profit, that then takes. So there's a lot of things that go. It's not just a singular thing like, No, we should be pissed at a lot of different things as taxpayers. I don't want to pay for them, but I also realize as a human being, you also have personal responsibilities, right? I think we can all agree with that. Nobody in the world is forced to work anywhere unless you're in a gulag somewhere in some far-off land that nobody's ever heard of, and you're put there as a work camp. But nobody's forcing somebody to work at Walmart or Amazon or anywhere. And the problem is they come after they've got a bill that they want to, a Bezos Act legislation that they want to come up with, and they scream of corporate welfare, and no, it's not corporate, it's our welfare. We're the ones footing the bill here. But what happens along the way? Well, government gets involved, and then it goes sideways. Case in point, in the 50s, we paid the highest wages in the world, and we produced things at the cheapest. Government becomes bigger, overreaching, more regulations, more rules, more taxes, more fees. We now have situations like this. This is the frustration we should have. So they want to come up with an act. And remember, Bezos, it's only about him being a poster boy when it comes to this. But think about small businesses that will, inevitably get caught up in any of these things that they're going to put out there that are going to pay the real price, which is the backbone of this country, that do as well operate on thin margins.
Now, a number of members of Congress have introduced a bill that would make large companies foot the bill for the money you've been paying to their employees. Congressman Ro Khanna of California is one of them. What's the point of this legislation?
The idea is really simple. Taxpayers shouldn't be footing the bill to subsidize the wages of employees who are working in multi-billion-dollar corporations. The basic idea for free market is if you work hard and you're smart enough to pick a company that does well, you should make enough to put food on the table. And it's absurd that taxpayers are having to subsidize these employees.
Yeah, it is absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And it's not all of their employees. It's some of their employees. Remember that. And when Bernie asks for you to do something, Bernie's not asking you, hey, I work at Amazon. I get paid well. People are really good. I've got a great opportunity in the company. I'm moving up. He's not looking for that story. That story goes away because that doesn't fit the narrative I want. The narrative is this. This is it. This is that narrative. What ends up happening is government gets in, and what they're going to do now is they're going to want to say, okay, well, we're going to implement all of these rules now, and you're going to have to pay for this, this, and this. And you know what happens? Goodbye, jobs. We'll go somewhere else. We'll consolidate. We'll pass it along to the customer. And those that you wanted to protect, you end up hurting even more, rather than say, well, what is it that we need to do? Maybe we need to get our way some people's way. Maybe we don't need so many more regulations. Maybe the taxes are ridiculous at times. Maybe there's all of these things that we should relook at. How is it that in the 50s, we have a booming economy where we're paying the highest wages and producing so many goods here cheaper than anywhere else? And how is it we flash forward, several decades and wages are low? And we're importing far more. And where's that come from? Well, government starts to get in there and starts to eat away at so many things. And then what happens? Lobbyists come in, and this is where it all goes. And then you got to go to D.C. because that's where the power is. And you have to go lobby so you can. It's a bunch of crap. It is. But Bezos is no more than a poster boy for this. They say large corporations and companies. What is going to happen is you got a lot of small businesses out there that work on thin margins that also aren't paying $15 an hour. And you're going to force them to get caught up in situations like this. And that's going to hurt them. And they're not the poster boy. You're using his wealth to get your foot even further into things that people don't want. It's frustrating. It is. We don't get to see the market operate in the way it should because there's so many rules, so many regulations, so much red tape, and so much crap. It's hard to see how it should operate. Drives people crazy. It does. Drives me crazy. And now we're going to have more and more issues like this where the Bernie Sanders of the world are going to come out and say it's all about the 1%, it's all about the greed, it's all about somebody else. This person here has this, and the reason he has this is because he took it from you, and you need some of that. And the best way to make everybody fair and equal is we need to take more of that away, and we need to do this, this, and this. Hey, there's a lot of things that drive me crazy. I don't want to supplement anybody else's worker, just like you don't. Right? Well, people are living in cars. And yeah, I get that. But once again, we're hearing one side of a story. There's a lot of sides to this story. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle you got to put together. I want to hear it all. I want to hear all of it. Because what happens when that... Let me ask you guys a question here. So they go and get this thing passed, and then all of a sudden, Amazon and the Walmarts and whoever the company that... They said, you know what, you're right. We're going to close down. We're going to move these jobs elsewhere. Now the 1 in 3 is now 3 in 3. And potentially bigger because once the wash, people are going to get caught in the wash, especially small and medium-sized businesses, because it's always the fine print that hurts so many more. What ends up happening? Then maybe that 1 in 3 becomes 5 in 5. It's frustrating. There's so much more to the story that never gets talked about. None of us want to say, hey, I want to help, wait, my money's going to do what? So they can make more money? No, nobody wants that. I don't begrudge what he makes. But at the same time, I can also look at somebody and say, well, you got 3 kids and you live with your mom and dad and this is the only job around. What are you doing to better yourself? We could ask that question as well. There's so many questions. But only one side wants to ask one particular question. They're going to use this guy as the poster boy to hang out there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us, Car Shield. I got all my cars on Car Shield, and there's a reason for that because I don't buy new cars, so I don't get a warranty. I want something that's going to protect my, if you will, as a just in case. And I go back to it, but, my friend was so surprised at how smooth and well the entire situation with her car went. $1,900 and change is what she would have had to pay. She paid a small deductible. They took care of everything, and she got a rental car for free because of Car Shield. She said, look, the covered repair thing, it was super easy. It was absolutely super easy. That's what you should do. Most of these cars you see out on the road, they're going to be out in the road for a very long time, and they're not coming with warranties. And some people, you love your car and the warranty is gone now. What do? You get Car Shield. It's simple and easy. All you have to do is call 800-CAR-6100. You mention code Benson. You visit carshield.com. You get 24/7 roadside assistance. You pick the place you want the car to be repaired. If something goes wrong with your car, they get it and them pay directly. And while your car is being repaired, they're going to make sure you got some wheels. They're going to get you a rental car. Simple and easy. Call 800-CAR-6100. Mention code Benson. Go to carshield.com. That's carshield.com. Use code Benson. Saves you 10% of deductible. May apply. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
The anonymous editorial published in the New York Times represents a new low in American journalism. And I think the New York Times should be ashamed. And I think whoever wrote this anonymous editorial should also be ashamed as well.
That's Mike Pence right there. It's the vice president. I don't know if he wrote it or not, but he's kind of like denying that he did write it. Very interesting. Even like the Washington Post and some other big papers have questioned this. Like, this better be real because this is going to hurt us all if this op-ed piece was somehow a bunch of BS. So it's going to be, interesting to see what takes place in the coming, days, because they're apparently scrambling and it's all hands on deck to find out who wrote this. And it could be up to 900 people inside of the administration. That's pretty big. And the chances of you or I or anybody knowing or have ever heard of any of these people are probably slim to none. right? Like, I would be surprised if it's somebody who is really somebody we're like, oh my God, I know exactly who that person is. It is Thursday night. It is September. It is the kickoff to the NFL season tonight. Yes, I would be watching. I'm not going to watch the game tonight, not because I don't want to watch the game tonight. I absolutely do. I will catch a bit of it, but I am going to see a movie tonight, which I will discuss tomorrow. But tonight you've got the Eagles, who are the world champions, who beat my Patriots, and you've got Matt Ryan and his Falcons.
They had a great team last year, and, I'm certain that the atmosphere will be really good. Obviously, with them celebrating what they did last year. But, once that's done, it comes down to us, our 11 on the field against their 11. So it's a good football team for sure, but we are too.
Yeah. It should be it's a great way to kick off the season. I'm excited about it. I really am. I'm excited to watch the season this week. I'm pumped. You can really watch. Yes, I'm going to really watch it. I mean, why would? Because they kneel, and I don't watch the game for the anthem. All right, I don't. It's up to you. If you don't want to watch it, that's on you. But I think it's going to be a good season, and it is. And the NFL is, with betting coming in, I think it's going to change a lot of things. You've watched what happens this year. I think it's going to be a boom for the NFL. And too many people, I think, wrote the obituary for it early. But I'm excited. Go Patriots! 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Here's your useless fact of the day. Mount Everest is actually 29,000 feet, but it's listed at 29,002 feet because when they measured it and it was at 29,000 feet, they said to themselves, people are going to think we rounded up. Crazy, kids, crazy. Have yourself a good rest of your day. As always, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.